The battlefield was a graveyard of twisted metal and smoldering ruins. Smoke coiled into the crimson sky as distant artillery thundered, shaking the ground beneath Sergeant Elias Voss's boots. His armor was cracked, his left arm hung limp, and blood seeped through the makeshift bandage on his thigh. But none of that mattered now. In his arms, the alien child trembled. She was small, frighteningly so, with delicate violet skin and large luminous eyes that shimmered with unshed tears. Her tiny fingers clutched his torn uniform, her breath coming in quick, panicked gasps. Elias didn't know her name, didn't know how she had survived the bombardment that had turned her city into a wasteland. But when he had seen her, alone and wailing amidst the rubble, something primal had roared to life inside him. Get her out. Now he ran. The enemy, the Kthari, were relentless. Their war machines scoured the ruins, hunting survivors. Elias ducked behind a collapsed wall as a patrol passed, his heartbeat thundering in his ears. The child buried her face against his chest, her small body shaking. "It's okay," he whispered, though he wasn't sure she understood. "I've got you." He didn't know why he was doing this. Humanity and the Kthari were at war, a brutal, unforgiving conflict over territory, resources, vengeance. This child was the enemy. And yet, she was just a child. Elias adjusted his grip and moved again, darting between cover. His vision swam from blood loss, but he pushed forward. The extraction point was close. If he could just make it. A shadow loomed. Elias barely had time to react before a Kthari warrior stepped into his path, her weapon raised. She was tall, her armored exoskeleton gleaming under the ash-choked sun. Her eyes, the same luminous hue as the child's, widened in shock. Then fury. "Human!" she snarled, her voice a guttural hiss. "Release her." Elias instinctively tightened his hold on the child. He had no weapon, no way to fight, but he wouldn't let go. The child suddenly wriggled in his arms, reaching out with a desperate cry. "Mama!" The warrior froze. Elias's breath caught. "Mama!" The Kthari's weapon trembled. Her gaze flickered between Elias and the child, her expression shifting from rage to something unreadable. Then slowly she lowered her weapon. "You saved her?" she asked, her voice thick with disbelief. Elias swallowed hard. "I couldn't leave her." For a heartbeat, silence stretched between them. Then the warrior, the mother, stepped closer. Her hand, clawed and deadly, reached out and gently touched her child's face. The little one cooed, nuzzling against her mother's palm. The Kthari's eyes locked onto Elias. "Why?" He didn't have an answer, not one that made sense. "She's innocent." The mother studied him. His wounds, his exhaustion, the way he still shielded her child despite his own pain. Then she did something Elias never expected. She knelt. "You have given me back my heart," she said, pressing a fist to her chest in what he assumed was a gesture of respect. "Now I give you my life bond." Elias blinked. "What?" "A debt beyond blood," she explained. "Where you go I will follow. Your enemies are mine. Your life is mine to protect." Elias opened his mouth to protest, but a sudden explosion rocked the ground. The enemy was closing in. The mother stood, scooping her child into one arm and gripping Elias's shoulder with the other. "Come, human. We must leave." And so, beneath a burning sky, a wounded soldier, an alien child, and a warrior bound by oath fled the Warzone together. Epilogue. 1 year later. The war between humanity and the Kthari ended not with a final battle, but with a whisper. The image of a human soldier carrying a Kthari child to safety spread like wildfire. Then came the footage of the mother, Commander Vera, swearing her life bond to him. Changed everything. Elias stood now on the steps of the newly formed Interstellar Accord Hall. His scars healed, his posture straight. Beside him Vera stood tall, her child, now named Lumi, perched on her hip, giggling as she played with Elias's dog tags. The crowd before them was a sea of humans and Kthari, once enemies, now something else. Elias took a breath and stepped forward to the microphone. "We were told this war had no end," he said. "That our species were too different, too angry." He glanced at Vera, then at Lumi, who beamed at him. "But hatred is a choice. So is mercy." Vera placed a clawed hand on his shoulder, her voice carrying across the silent crowd. "The life bond was sacred to my people. Now let it be sacred to all." And as the two stood together, soldier and warrior, human and alien, the first true peace in generations began. Because sometimes all it took to change the galaxy was one act of kindness.